Okay, so this time around, I'm looking at yet another completely on-chain game. This is called Pizza Game. It's an idle on-chain game built on Avalanche. The game involves buying chef NFTs. So these are chefs to mint pizza tokens as an earning. You provide pizza AVAX liquidity to earn soda tokens, and these tokens can in turn be used to buy tools and improve your pizzeria, which leads to higher pizza token yield. Like Krabata, the most popular game on Avalanche, Pizza Game is also a simple idle on-chain game that is ridiculously easy to play, but involves skill expression when it comes to resource management, investments, and understanding the crypto market. So to go over the gameplay first, so things make sense, there are in the Genesis round, there were 10,000 chefs that were available to mint for 1.5 AVAX each. The chef can be staked in the pizzeria to cook pizza tokens. Just the players must be careful not to overwork the chef, because the chef can get fatigued and then their rate of churning out or minting pizza tokens reduces. When minting a chef, there's a 5% chance that you receive a super chef. These are able to mint pizza 3 times faster. Additionally, 10,000 chefs can be minted after Genesis round using the in-game currency instead of AVAX, which is pizza. 25% of the revenue from the pizza AVAX liquidity pair will be used by the game to provide liquidity. At the beginning of the game, you can only stake up to 10 chefs. As you improve the pizzeria, the chef's team can be expanded. And so, each chef can, without any advanced tools or without upgrades to the pizzeria, can cook 1 pizza per minute. Super chef can do 3 pizzas per minute. So if you have 10 chefs, 10 pizzas per minute, but as you expand your pizzeria using your soda tokens, you can add more chefs. The pizzeria can be improved using pizza tokens, but it's soda tokens. And to get soda, you can stake the pizza AVAX liquidity pair in the quote unquote soda fountain, which is inside the game. Each chef can hold 1 tool. To get tools, you're required to spend some combination of pizza and soda tokens. The tools are tiered NFTs, so you have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 NFTs. Each chef gets fatigued as they work nonstop, minting the pizza. The higher the pizza production rate, the faster the chef gets fatigued. So fatigue and pizza production rate depends not just on the type of chef, but also the tools and the size of the pizzeria and so on and so forth. So the faster the fatigue chefs produce less and less pizza, eventually stopping the pizza production. So for a chef to recover, it needs to be unstaked and then rest for up to 12 hours, depending on the fatigue. While recovering, the chef does not cook any pizza. The fatigue mechanic makes the game harder as the pizza kind of production rate gets higher. Players have to come up with strategies to maximize pizza production rate without over fatiguing their chefs. And that kind of becomes the skill expression as the game, as you move forward in the game. You can stake your pizza in the freezer in order to earn pizza faster. So increase your pizza production rate. Whenever a player claims pizza from the pizzeria, 10% is automatically just sent to the freezer. In order to defrost or unstake the pizza from the freezer, there's a fast method and a slow method. Slow method takes 2 days and 10% of the pizza is burned. Fast method is immediate, but 25% of the pizza is burned and 25% remains in the freezer. So it's quite expensive to unstake really fast. So interesting things about this game are that it caters to the achiever kind of player type, the socializer, and the miner player type. The achiever player type gets to express their skill in terms of optimizing all of the various variables that affect your pizza and soda earnings in order to maximize your earnings. The socializers, they get to discuss these strategies offline, like off game, but they also get to collaborate. So there's a new mechanic in the game where mafia bosses can come in and they can steal your pizza, and members of the community, they must collaborate in order to defeat these mafia bosses and protect their pizza earnings. So there's a social element to the game, and it's a constructive social element. There's no player against player fighting. And then there's miners, of course. Miners can extract pizza and soda value from the game whenever possible, although the game does disincentivize pure extraction. And extraction does lead to burning of the token, which means that those who don't extract their tokens and maintain them in game eventually see a rising value of their token. When it comes to pricing model within the game, the chefs used to have a floor price of 1.5 AVAX. It's around about the same at the moment, although now you can buy the chefs in pizza as well. They can be sold at varying prices on the secondary market, with some rare chefs going for 8, 9, even 15 AVAX. The tools are priced in pizza and soda combined at varying prices depending on the tier, and upgrading the pizzeria is priced in soda. So one risk that I see with this game is that, well, usually with similar games, one risk is that players leave when their returns stop being profitable, right? But within the pizza game, because it's kind of in the category of an idle game, the parameters are tight enough and contained enough for the developers to tweak in order to ensure that players receive their returns and keep coming back to the game. At the same time, the game also has kind of a good number of stops on the velocity of both their pizza and soda tokens, as well as burning mechanisms for both, such that sort of even when the economy grows, and if the miner player type or the investor player type that is extracting value from the game grows in proportion, the token value will also grow, or it will not suddenly tank. It won't be hyperinflation. So that's kind of like how the game tries to take care of the risk. The problem, though, is that at any given point in the game, there seems to be a single best strategy. Now, in order to keep the game interesting, what the pizza game does and has been doing is it keeps adding some new mechanic. So recently they added mafia bosses. They also kind of change the way in which you're charged for various aspects. They keep introducing new tools. And the moment kind of they start adding these new features, they introduce more complexity to the game economy, which might mean mean that it's risky kind of to control the game economy going forward, while also keeping the game in. So that is one risk that I foresee with such a game. Though, and if they're unable to keep up with this risk, what happens is that the game plateaus, and then it just goes out of vogue. Players just get bored and just cash in their returns and move on to some other game. So I'm not sure how pizza game might be able to solve this problem. One solution I foresee is that the studio might actually use the proceeds, the revenue from the pizza game, to actually create other games within the ecosystem, wherein the tokens can then be used and transferred over to the other game. And that way it might keep the token holders engaged, and they can eventually just phase out or cannibalize pizza game. Interestingly, neither the pizza token nor the soda token are governance tokens. They're both utility tokens. There's nothing on the documentation or online about the governance of this game, even though it's completely on chain, which is interesting because that was the case with Krabada as well. And the way, and none of these tokens were reserved for investors or the team. All of the tokens from day one have been for either liquidity provision or minting or staking, just kind of in-game activity. So none of the tokens were set aside for VCs or the team. Rather, the team made its or has been generating its revenue from minting chef NFTs. So putting up chef NFTs for sale. That's been their primary source of income for this game. So the pizza game does present an interesting economy. It has created a game in a relatively popular genre, which is the idle game genre, and it has created a very quirky kind of narrative, where you mint chef NFTs, and then your chef NFTs cook pizza token, and it has also created a very well designed economy where you provide liquidity for the pizza token in order to earn the other in-game utility token soda, and then you spend soda so that you can expand your pizzeria and earn more pizza. So there's always reinvestment that is incentivized, and anytime you choose to spend your token or take it out of the economy, your tokens are burned, or you are disincentivized to take tokens, cash out the tokens out of the economy. So it is a very interesting on-chain game worth looking at, and its economy is worth studying. What pizza game can learn from other play-to-earn games is how to involve other ways of skill expression within the game, rather than just maximizing resources and optimizing variables. Because eventually, I've seen many players just resort to a spreadsheet in order to do that. And that doesn't seem that fun. So let's see where the game ecosystem goes from here.
Is there any limit or stated limit on number of chefs or chef inflation?
So chefs are minted in batches. So and each batch usually is 10,000 chefs. So first batch 10,000, next batch 10,000, and the team decides the release event. So I think it's kind of like Crypto Raiders, where they have the recruiting event, but yeah, it's minted in batches.
Okay, that makes sense. So they can so they can set that so it scales up properly with players.
Yeah, they have full
In
control over the economy.
in terms of the minting of the chefs, like is there any mention of like if a particular generation of chefs have a different like skill set? Like are the Genesis chefs more skilled at creating pizzas than the next generation, or are they all the same?
At the moment, there's no difference except for the 5% chance of gaining a super chef in every generation. But otherwise, I don't see any
Okay.
difference.
And one
Yeah.
question I had was, so the tokens were needed in order to improve your pizzeria. So like,
Yeah.
what happens for each improvement? Like, how many improvements can you do, or like, what's the benefit of improving the pizzeria?
Couldn't find any information on the improvement cap or the definition of what the improvement means, rather than the like leaving alone just the statement that each improvement comes along with more like a greater capacity to maintain your chef. So instead of 10, you can keep 12 chefs or something like that. But how many more chefs you can add with each improvement, that was not something that they mentioned. I think that's on purpose because they can fine tune this depending on how the economy is behaving.
Okay. And one more thing, like at the latter end, you talked about like if players are looking to cash out, like the protocol burns the pizza token or the soda token. So like how do you convert those tokens into something tangible? Like if a player wants to withdraw basically their earnings, how would they go about it?
You bridge over your token onto the Avalanche chain, and then you likely have to swap it for AVAX or some other token, and then you cash out. To me, this game is very much play to earn with emphasis on earn, and that's the case, with a lot of idle games. Now, idle games make a good genre for developers that want to build their game completely on chain because they are, relatively very simple and the mechanics are very simple. And coincidentally, they also lend to very kind of tight game economies that can be tweaked completely by developers. But people do play idle games because they're a fun way of passing their time. In this case, though, gaining from the community and what I've seen online and the Discord and stuff like that, I think a good like 90% of the people are playing for the earn element. But this is what idle games do really well, which is that they create earning, into a meta game, right? You have to think, the real game that you're playing, and this is true for Krabada as well. The real game that you're playing is not, the pizza game. What you're playing is resource management, resource kind of manipulation, and so the game tries to make that fun, and that's where your skill expression comes in.